everyone, and welcome to another interview for Miracles of Life. Tonight is a very special interview for me, and I am excited to introduce you to Miss Keetie Lee. I am Dr. Maisha Gilliam-El, and I'm going to let Keetie tell you a little bit about herself, her business, and all of those things before we get started into the story.
Hi, I'm Keetie. I'm a mom of four. I'm a digital designer. I do invitations and invites. I braid hair on the side, and I just take care of my little ones.
Oh, that is awesome. So a lot of people that were a part of making the film know that there was a young lady named Deirdre that played you. And so I'm just excited that Deirdre's probably on watching too, and because she never got to meet you before. And so I'm excited because you were actually there. You were actually the first person that saw me in the condition that I was in 2012. So tell me how we met. I just told a little bit, but just.
I remember us meeting your husband, and I cannot remember if we met you before the incident, but I don't think I met you before. I know we spoke to your husband on a couple of occasions, but I don't think I met you until after the incident.
That's what I was thinking, because I was thinking back on it, and I was like, and then we spoke to each other because we were neighbors, but I don't think we really actually had a conversation, prior to that happening, which is, I think you all had just moved in not too long, because there were other neighbors over there at first.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah. If you could go back to that day in February, can you tell everyone briefly kind of what you remember from that day?
We were sitting there watching TV, and we heard a knock on the door. We were new, so we just didn't know who would be knocking on the door. And so when you knocked on the door, and I cannot remember if you asked to use, I think you asked to use the phone, and my husband handed you the phone. And then once you gave us back the phone, you shut the door because we didn't know who you were. You just So, when you shut the door, I looked out the window. I was like, "Oh, she went going across the street. She just had the baby." So when I realized that it was you, I was like, "We gotta go. We gotta go." And so we just came across the street.
Right. And what I remember too is that it was kind of funny because I remember you just going into action mode.
Yes.
And, your husband's kind of quiet. And so, I heard you tell him, no, like something's wrong or whatever, because I think I said to you, like, I can't breathe or something. Can you help me?
Right.
And then you all immediately opened the door, and I don't know who called 911. I think your husband called 911 and you stayed with me or something.
I couldn't remember.
Yeah. And then I think you actually went over and got the baby because you were like, I guess thinking to yourself, like, I just had a baby. Where's this baby? And she's out here like this. And then, I just was so thankful that, you actually opened the door for me, and that not only did you open the door, but that you were concerned enough to go check on the baby, get the baby. And then I'm not sure who told my husband. Maybe you can enlighten. I don't know who told him what happened or how he figured out I was in the ambulance or what. I don't even know.
I told him what happened, and he told him that I had the baby. But I can't remember their conversation or their interaction.
Right. But I do remember that one of you guys had to actually tell him, because I was in the ambulance and I couldn't even get to him because they had me in the back. I could see the car out there.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get to him to say anything. So, I was very reliant on you guys telling him everything that was going on and kind of catching him up to par. As much as you knew, because I didn't tell you guys anything. You just saw me in distress, and that was kind of it.
Wrong, and we just jumped into action.
Because at that time I remember just trying to conserve my breath. And I remember you asking the paramedics, weren't they going to put me on a gurney because they made me walk to the ambulance? And you're like looking at them like what are you doing?
Yes.
And how long they took to get there. I remember you all kind of being irritated by how long they took to actually get to us. When the hospital is only probably like 10 minutes, 15 minutes away at the most.
Yeah. Yes.
So they took an extremely long time. It seemed like forever for me for them to get there.
Are they here yet? Are they here yet?
Right. And I was just so thankful that you all didn't leave me. I was so grateful that I wasn't left by myself to wait for them. What was going through your mind when I knocked at the door? Like, what were you thinking when did you think I was, and when I said I can't breathe, did you panic? Were you panicky or?
No, I didn't know what to think because, like I said, we didn't meet. So I just know that something was wrong. When you said I did go to school for medical assistant.
Right.
So I knew when you said that you couldn't breathe. Now that's serious.
Yeah.
So I, make sure you were okay. And I remember that you had the baby. So I just wanted to make sure he was okay.
Right. So see, it was still orchestrated because if I needed anything serious, you could have still helped me. So I like to always say that God knows what he's doing.
Yes.
When he orchestrates things, because he's very strategic in that way. And so I was very happy about that too, knowing that you had that medical background, that you could have jumped into action if need be.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Did you know so you did know I just had a baby. We talked about that. And we talked about how long the ambulance took to actually get there. And then did you realize that it was like a volunteer ambulance?
I did not.
I didn't either. I didn't even know that they had them to respond to serious cases like that.
Yeah, me either. I would have thought that it would have been, the regular. I didn't know it was volunteer.
And I was expecting the fire department to come first.
Yep. I was expecting those. And for some reason, I was also expecting the police, but
yeah.
None of
that happened.
No, like y'all need to be in front of her with the siren on, speeding to get her to the hospital.
But we didn't get a fire truck. We didn't get the police. We didn't get anybody.
No.
We just got the volunteers that came.
Yes.
Thank goodness for them, but they weren't really equipped to deal with what was going on at the time.
Yeah, especially when they wanted to make you walk.
And I really realized it when I got into the back of the ambulance.
Okay.
The training that wasn't there, and the regular paramedics would have jumped right into action.
Right.
They were very hesitant. I don't know what their protocol is, but I'm used to both people staying in the back until the patient is stabilized. But I had one sitting up front in the driver's seat and one in the back with me. And I'm like, he's trying to figure it out himself. So let's see. At the time, what was my husband's reaction? Do you remember what his reaction was?
I think he was like a calm panic. He was calm. I think he brought me the stuff for the baby, the diaper bag and things. He was calm, but he had to get to you.
Yeah. Because they were telling me that that morning he had just got finished taking them to the bus stop. So he really didn't have any warning of anything happening, and neither did I.
Right.
We both kind of thought everything was okay. I just kind of felt like I had a little bit of indigestion in my chest. And I'm just chucking it off to something I ate.
Right.
And little did I know, I was literally going into heart failure at that time. And it happened so quickly.
It did.
And while I was in the house, the only thing I could think of was I have to get to the neighbor. Now, I don't know why. I guess because your house was right there in front of me, I just focused on getting across the street instead of going to the neighbor beside me and trying to go that way. But I was like, no. I don't know. For some reason, I think that I remembered your face and thought some kind of way you were friendly and knew that you would help. I don't know.
Right.
I guess just call it intuition. I don't know. But that's where I was directed, is to your house.
Yeah.
So I immediately came over there. And in my mind, you know, I always tell you this, you and your husband are definitely my heroes.
Yeah.
Y'all are my heroes. If it had not been for you all being home, opening that door for me, I don't know what would have possibly happened, because I was without oxygen at that point for a long amount of time. And then, you know, you all keeping me calm, or you keeping me calm, me knowing that you had the baby, me knowing that, you know, you all would tell my husband what was going to happen. And for two people that didn't know me, you know, you would have thought I was a family member or something, because you all immediately became advocates for me. And, you know, I am so thankful for that, because I attribute you to partly to saving my life, you know, and ensuring that I got to that hospital.
It was a thoughtless thing. I just know that you needed something. I know that you needed help, and I just needed to help you any way that I could.
And, you know, a lot of people, we couldn't put this part in the film, all the times that I went back to the hospital. And even when I came home from the hospital, do you remember what happened? I coughed in the house, and I ended up having to go back to the emergency room. And in my mind, my husband tossed you Isaiah.
Yes. He said he had to get you there. He gave you the baby back. And
I mean, and again, like, you didn't even really know us like that. But you jumped right into action, keeping a baby that, I mean, and Isaiah was being breastfed. So, I mean, I don't even know how you dealt with that, because I didn't give you.
Your husband went to I think he went to buy formula, if I'm not
okay.
I think he went to buy me some formula to feed him. I'm thinking that's correct.
That's probably true, because I think what I was told was that they converted him when I was in the hospital. They had to convert him to the bottle.
Right. So,
and
yeah.
But having to keep him, still a baby that was nursing, he was only 7 days old.
Yeah.
Probably 7 to 9 days old at that time.
He was so tiny and adorable. It was.
Oh my goodness.
Pleasure. It was definitely.
I was just so glad to know he was safe, because, you know, being in that situation and not knowing that, not having anybody that you can trust to keep the baby, and then having to worry about that on top of other things, you know, trying to get better, trying to get healthy, trying to feel better, you know, that would have been so stressful. So very stressful. So again, I'm thankful for that. Let's see. What comes to your mind when you think about miracles?
Something that doesn't happen often, or something that you just unseeable. Like,
yeah,
I cannot explain it.
Yeah, miracles are very inexplicable. And a lot of people, you know, think that miracles have to be something so huge or so big. And I tell people all the time, it's a miracle when we wake up every day. It's a miracle that our heart beats in our chest. It's a miracle that we can walk, talk, see. All the things that we take for granted every single day are miracles.
I am.
And I say every day that we wake up above ground, you know, we ought to be thankful, and that it is such a blessing, you know. So in dealing with that situation, had you ever had any experience like that before? Had you ever had anybody put you in that situation before where you had to react immediately like that?
No, that was the first. That was the first.
Wow.
I was surprised I was so calm. I was but it was the first.
So I was just always wondered, like, what was the conversation with you and your husband once I got in the ambulance and left? Were you both like in shock still?
We was just wanting to make sure that your husband got to you and that you were okay. Like, I didn't have any numbers to contact anybody because we had just met. So I couldn't text or call to see how everything was going. I just had to sit by the window until I seen him pull back in the driveway.
Yeah, I remember though too, once I got home and I kind of got stabilized a little bit, there was a lot of company coming in and out, but you know, I did know, and I was happy again because I knew that you all were right across the street. you know, and that if anything happened that, you know, I could, you know, rely on you to be there. And so I was happy about that as well. There was a lot I was happy and grateful about. And dealing with you all. And then like ever since, you know, after that, I think you became the go-to person, and you watched Isaiah for us. And, you know, it just has been kind of history since, with you getting the cupcakes and us staying in touch. And,
best
you know,
ever. The best. I love them.
I always try to make sure we stay in touch, because I always tell you, like, I don't want to lose touch. I don't care where we move or whatever like that. I just always want to make sure that we keep in touch with each other, because you all played such an intricate part in this story and in this film. Y'all are such a huge part of it. And the book as well. I think I told you I was going to put you in the book, but so I was like, I have to make sure, wait a minute, let me make sure I let her know, you know, that I'm going to put this in this book. But, you know, so what is next for you as far as, are you still doing like medical assistance work as well?
No, right now I'm just creating the invitations and being a mom. I'm diving deeper into my spiritual. I'm still studying being a Jehovah's Witness. And so I'm just diving into my spiritual journey.
Awesome. And I'm going to tell you, that is what I loved also. The fact that we're two different people from two different things, and religion did not play a part in keeping you from doing what you needed to do for me. You know what I mean? And it was the love of God in you that came across, and still, you know what I mean, jumped into action. And that is so important for people to understand. Sometimes we create those boundaries for ourselves, and it's never gotten in the way of our friendship, of who we are, of what we do, or how much I love you all. You know what I mean? It's never gotten in the way of that.
Right. I know God is love. So
yes,
help your neighbors, be there for your neighbors, do what you can. And that's what I was trying to do for you, is just show love, you know, because it's a lot. It's not a lot in this world. So just show love. And that's exactly what I was trying to do. Just be there and apply what I was learning.
Yes. And that is so important too, because I think through you, I met Mr. and Mrs. Ira, who became an intricate part of my life. She would visit me from time to time. And, you know, they were just two awesome individuals. When I didn't reach out to her, she would reach out to me and always contact me. And I would say that she was the youngest 70-some-year-old lady I've ever seen in my life, you know, and the most energetic, and so much wisdom, you know, came from her. And again, she never let the fact that I was not Jehovah's Witness get in the way. She still visited me. We still shared conversations. You know what I mean? And I grew to love Miss Ira and her husband, you know?
Yes.
And I always wonder about them now, where they are, if they still come, because she would look for me. You know, when we moved, she looked for me and she found me, you know, and I was like, wow, you really care. Like, I mean, that's hard to find.
Yes, ma'am. That's why I'm glad we keep in contact.
Yes, me too. And I'm like, you know, I tell you all the time, if there's anything you ever need, I am there. I am there. And so I'm excited because the film is in the film festivals right now. We've entered 6 film festivals, as I keep telling everybody. And so we're just waiting to hear back. And then once that happens, we're going to have a big old movie premiere that I want you and your husband to get dressed up in your best outfits, and, you know, everybody come, because it's going to be powerful. And, you know, there's so many messages that we're trying to get across with this film. The message of love, like you spoke about, you know, the message of breaking boundaries. You know, I didn't even think about that one until I got on here with you and thought about the fact, you know, of our differences, but that didn't separate anything. You know, that didn't even come to mind until this interview, you know, because that's another message portrayed. You know, love breaks through boundaries.
Right.
And and you all have such sincere hearts, you know, what you see is what you get. I've never come around you and you're a different person, no matter whether I come to deliver something or whatever, you're always the same person. Mm-hmm. Always smiling, always happy, always, you know.
Yes, it's enough. Like I tell my husband, it's enough negative in the world and enough stuff to stress about. So I try to smile and be happy and, you know, pray.
Yes, that is so important.
Yes.
So important. It is prayer that got me through February the 27th. It was prayer that definitely got me through that situation. I don't know what I would have did.
So glad we were there. So glad we could be.
Me too. Me too. Can you tell them again how they can find you? However you have people to reach out to you for your invitations.
My Facebook is Keetie Lee or ML Design on Facebook. That's my two main social medias is the Facebook.
Okay, good. So you guys reach out to her for your invitation needs. They are beautiful invitations. Make sure that you have a wedding coming up, birthdays, any kind of events coming up. Just reach out to her and they can go and they can see different things on your page.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can go see different things on our page. We got to support each other's businesses. I don't care how many people may be doing the same thing. There's a uniqueness to everybody's creativity. So go check her out. And I'm just excited that you decided to do this interview. I'm so excited that you decided to do this interview.
It's an honor for me to do it. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And tell your husband I said thank you as well.
I will.
You guys stay posted for Miracles of Life, the short film that will be coming to you soon to the public. Like I said, we'll be having a big gala when that day comes. So stay posted. We're just going to keep you posted on the interviews that are coming up. The next interview coming up will be with my sister, who does not like to interview either, but she has agreed to interview. So stay posted for that and you'll get her perspective, as well as my mother-in-law will be coming shortly as well. I love you guys. Remember, how your life begins is not how your life has to end. You can always turn things around and transition your life today. If you change your thoughts, you can change your very life. Until next time, peace and blessings to you.